They told me I was nothing but a burden. Imagine hearing your children whisper about putting you in a home, like you're some piece of old furniture they're tired of moving around. My hands shook, not because of age, but because of rage. They thought I was powerless, that I'd sit quietly while they plotted behind my back. But what they didn't know was that I had a plan that would flip their lives upside down. Let me tell you how I turned their cruelty into my revenge. I wasn't always this fragile-looking woman they dismissed. I raised 3 kids, working double shifts at the diner, just to keep food on the table. My knees ache now, and my hair's gray, but my love for them never faded. And yet, the moment I slowed down, they saw me as useless. Every sigh when I asked for help, every rolled eye when I forgot something, it cut deeper than any knife. It wasn't the aches in my bones that hurt, it was realizing the family I gave everything to couldn't wait to push me aside. The breaking point came one evening when I overheard my daughter-in-law laughing on the phone. She said, "We'll take her check, move her into a home, and finally have peace." My own son nodded, like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. They didn't see me in the hallway, clutching the wall for balance. In that moment, I wasn't a mother anymore. I was an inconvenience, an obstacle standing between them and their comfort. I swallowed my tears, but inside, something darker was brewing. They wanted me gone, but I wasn't leaving quietly. I started small. I listened more than I spoke, making mental notes of every lie they told and every selfish move they made. They thought I was forgetful, but I remembered everything. I began moving my savings into a separate account, one they didn't know existed. I dug up old paperwork, my will, insurance documents, and even deeds they thought had been lost. Each night, when the house was silent, I sat at the kitchen table with a pen, rewriting the future. They thought they were planning my exit, but I was planning their downfall. My first move was testing their loyalty. I pretended to misplace an envelope with cash inside, just to see who would come clean. My youngest granddaughter found it, and instead of telling me, she tucked it into her purse. When I asked about it, she swore up and down she hadn't seen anything. That was the confirmation I needed. Greed ran in their blood. But I smiled sweetly, thanked her anyway, and let her think she'd fooled me. Little did she know, every action was another nail in the coffin of trust. One night, my son confronted me saying, "Mom, it's time we face reality. You can't stay here much longer." His words were ice. But what chilled me most was the hunger in his eyes, the hunger for what I had left. They thought I'd crumble, maybe even beg. Instead, I nodded and pretended to agree. What they didn't realize was that I had already signed papers transferring everything, my house, my savings, even the land my late husband left me, to someone they never suspected. The clock was ticking, and they had no idea it was about to strike midnight. The day came when they sat me down, ready to ship me off to a nursing home. They smirked, papers in hand, thinking they'd secured their future. That's when I slid my own folder across the table. "You might want to read this first," I said, my voice steady. Their faces drained as they read the legal transfer documents. Everything they wanted was ganooved into the name of a local charity and a trusted lawyer who had helped me for months. My son slammed the table, shouting, but it was too late. The house they lived in, no longer theirs. The money they craved, out of reach forever. The silence that followed was delicious. My daughter-in-law's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. My son's anger turned into fear as reality sank in. They couldn't touch me, couldn't undo what I'd done. All those years of them treating me like I was disposable, and in one signature, I showed them who really held the power. I walked away from that table not as their victim, but as the woman who finally made them pay. And for once, I felt lighter than I had in years. People say, revenge doesn't heal wounds, but they're wrong. Sometimes, it's the only medicine that works. My children thought age made me weak, that love made me blind. But they forgot one thing. A mother never forgets, and a grandmother never forgives betrayal. So now, when they look at me, they don't see a burden, they see the woman who outsmarted them all. And to that, I say, never underestimate the strength of a grandma who's been pushed too far.